Finally awake, huh? Setting some stuff up. Snails are only slimy if you touch them. I'm debating what I want to do with my GoPro. Let's do down there. Oh my gosh, that bird is up there teasing me and I can never see what it is. Blackbird. Crow up there. What's the weather like in California? Like I say, right now is because there's 2 seasons in California. There's summer and fire season. So I think right now your guys are transitioning right to fire season, right? From summer. And hello there, Sharon. I hope your day is going well. There's a big old fat bumblebee. I'm gonna go set this GoPro up. I'll let you guys chat for a little bit. So, Simon, the big sissy whiny crybaby over there in the UK, Mantis Garden, is always whining and complaining about the wind noise. I'm gonna cough, I'm sorry. Excuse me. So before I go out, I'm experimenting with putting some stuff over the microphones and see if I can do some of that. And if that works well enough, I may invest in either spend time. Sorry, I thought I saw a cardinal. I may spend more time putting together something nicer or spend money one day getting a microphone wind reduced thinger majigger. Now there's the woodpecker just flew off. Correct. Yes, Simon's so full of it, it's creating turbulence over here in Michigan. I love Simon. All right. Let me know. Oh, I saw. So I have not. I've not yet gotten to do any actual research into bird calls yet. It's just I have so much going on. I barely made it out here on time. I hope that showed up well on video. That blackbird, red-winged blackbird just flew by. But I'm trying to move stuff off of my GoPro memory card. And I was rendering a video and wanted to get that done before I got out here. The batteries, the spare battery, I should say my alternate battery for my GoPro had barely gotten done charging. So I was scrambling to get out here, but I made it. But my point is, between that, the girls, I just haven't had time. I I was in the live stream last night, and I literally fell asleep at my computer for a solid 2 minutes, and then my hand slipped, my chin or whatever slipped out of my hand, and I almost hit my head on my desk and went to sleep. So I thought that was kind of funny. It's one of those moments where I swear, I don't know. I think. Can you guys hear that wind right now by chance? It's not. It's not too. Well, there we go. Is that wind coming out, or is that reduced a little bit? I'm gonna say I normally don't cuss, Ninja, but and I think Sharon, you're from the UK, and you guys generally have thicker skin and a real sense of humor, unlike people here. I'm also a little bit further away and down from it as I have it set up. So, but in the Marine Corps, um, yeah, and the funny thing would be what happened? How'd you get a concussion? Sitting at my computer, but in the Marine Corps, specifically when you go to, well, a lot in boot camp, because you're learning so much and you're sitting and um, you're tired, you're exhausted. But anytime you're in a Marine Corps class and you're supposed to be paying attention, taking notes, looking up at the instructor, looking at the screen, whatever, you know how you get that motion where your head looks down and your chin starts to go down and your head comes back up and your head starts to fall back down slowly and you shoot back up again. In the Marine Corps, they used to call that bobbing for cock. And for a little bit more of a funny story, my last name, Steve-O, my last name is Orzakowski. It has 11 letters, and most people can't pronounce it. And so in boot camp, immediately, what drill instructors do is break down any name that's complex like that to something simple. And so what they named me instead of Orzakowski was Orgy. So from boot camp on to my first few months in fleet where it was inappropriate and less politically correct, they could no longer call me PFC Orgy and had to start calling me either by my last name or PFC Ski. But it was just funny. So, oh, good, Orgy over there bobbing for cock again. Get up. Something like that would be something you would hear in the Marine Corps. I'm going to go set up that GoPro. You guys think on that. I'm going to come back and read comments in a moment. I just realized how very precariously placed my camera is. I you'd want to see. Streaming slut. I'm trying to think of the if I've heard of any Brit UK context of bobbing. The only thing I thought, I know you guys call cops bobbies, if I'm not mistaken, or had at some point. And it is really neat. I'm gonna try and do this again. My camera's not very well placed. Oops, sorry about that. But you can't really see. I'll just take you guys over there. Show you what I want to show you. What I want to show you. Get some FaceTime with you guys. You know, today would be if you guys are interested in a slight deviation of plans. I could put on my waders and go for a walk in the creek with my waders on, if that's something you guys would be interested in. But I could always do that tomorrow also. So no rush. Like I always tell my kiddos, you don't have to do everything today. That's why God invented tomorrow. No, that's not. Real quick. My GoPro there, but that's the life right there, man. When I was putting the GoPro out, all three of them were sleeping. It's one of those moments where my GoPro won't catch it because it's too far away, but I just wish I had the ability to show you guys what I had seen with my own eyes. Yeah, maybe I'll do that tomorrow. That way I can plan for it. I want to get away from my GoPro and not ruin the audio anymore. Yeah, I'll do that when I get there. So, see if I can't get this again. I'm gonna show you what I'm working with here in a minute. Oh no, I'm such a dolt. And there's a hawk, or maybe the bald eagle, actually. Come here. Where are you? It's not a bald eagle, it's too small and the color pattern isn't right. If I had to guess based on that, I want to say a Cooper's hawk. I've been trying to, I've been mentioning I don't have a lot of time, but it's because I'm always doing things like this. So I've been trying to look at, I apologize, I lost sight of it, so I'm trying to look through my eyes, not the camera. And that's why it's actually fun. You can hear a lot of the birds' alarms go off when a predatory raptor or something like that's in the area. But I've been trying to look at websites where you can identify different kinds of birds from the underside. Obviously, as I'm looking up like this, I don't know what they look like from above, but different tail lengths, wing patterns, and colorations and things like that. So I'm starting to slowly look into that. I apologize, I don't know if it flew off, but I can no longer see it. But I'm debating now because I'm so stupid. I forgot my brushes. I normally carry paint brushes so I can kind of scoop things off. Maybe I'm smart and kept some in my bag as I try to do, but I take them out. So let me check. No, I'm dumb and stupid and forgot my paint brushes. So yeah, I'll just leave this. I'm gonna leave you guys out here for a minute. I think you guys will manage. Enjoy the scenes. Am I zoomed all the way out now? No. I am going to go. There we are. I use small little paint brushes to. Yeah, you deal with isopods, so you know how. When I find them out here, for example, if they're kind of in a little crevice, I'll poke them in the, push them out with the butt, scoop them out of there. And snails, kind of similarly, I scoop them off into the little containers. But what did I miss? I am autistic and have hyper focus, and there's that bird call going off. That one right there. That, but in an actual bird call. Anyway, I want to know what that is, and I can never see it. I've not heard it before. Or, I'm sorry, I've heard it somewhere before, and that's what's really just. I'm getting almost ornery about it because I can't find anything on it. And it's the one I posted that video on. And I've only seen it fly off once. But it's to. No. It's to the point I'm going to, in fact, that may be what I'm going to do on my excursion when I put on my waders is walk across, because it's generally as when I hear it on the other side. So I'll do that. I'll bring my Canon over there, see if I can film it. Good idea, guys. You guys are amazing. But that's why I get incredibly distracted by that specific bird call, because I'm just hoping to see it. But what I was going to say is I'm going to show you what I'm bringing out before I go get my paintbrushes. I have these 2 containers for if I chance upon any isopods or millipedes or bigger things like that. I could put snails in here also. It's just larger. I'm going to just shut up whenever I hear that bird call. And I'll show you what I'm going to put my snails in. See the ducks swimming away to the left? I'm sorry, mallards. Don't crucify me, Rhode Island. And then I also have 2 of these. I'm going to be trying to get amber snails, and then another kind that I have not yet identified. I just haven't taken the time. They're a local species, and I think I may have actually seen them before when I was looking for amber snails, but I haven't found them yet, so I'm going to take 2 of these out. And then I may have this in case, again, if I find isopods or something interesting. And then the reason I'm planning on keeping the snails is for a couple vivariums, things like that. I mean, I do want to potentially breed them, and I can hear that bird, but it's too far off for it to come up audibly in here. For just things like that. One thing I plan on doing very soon, I'm going to cough, I apologize, is again, it depends on how you classify it, either a vivarium or terrarium. But I want to do it completely by taking materials that I find and forage out here. I may exclude the substrate, or I may at least have a base layer of isopod substrate and then surface substrate from what I find out here. But I want to do that eventually, so I'm going to have snails, isopods, and see what else I gather out here. Things that I would make a more balanced system in there and do something like that. I don't know the size or the capacity that I want to do it yet with. So there's that. And then I have sealed vivariums that I think if I put one snail in and don't have them breed out of control, it would be beneficial and help clean certain things up in there. Or I may have where I just take them out eventually. I don't know. I'm not familiar or comfortable handling snails yet to the point where I want to have them in a smaller enclosure and have to deal with them like that. Again, those are some of the things and reasons. I'm just debating if I even want to go get a paintbrush, because I know I can use this. Yeah, I'll be fine. I'll use the straw that we have out here. I'll do that. If I ever miss a question or don't respond to something that obviously merits a response, always let me know. I miss things, or think I'm going to respond to them, or think that I'll read it and forget that I had to go back and read it. So again, I will constantly tell you guys I'm not that smart, so don't, I don't take it personal when if you guys point something out like that. I actually appreciate it, because I feel rude not addressing it. I feel like a jerk. Per drill instructor Staff Sergeant Cedeno, I'm going to hydrate, and then we'll be on our way. Do I need to bring... Oh. Let me know, should we do snails, or should we just go gather some wood for Wally first? I vote for wood for Wally, but my vote doesn't count. Not here, anyway. No, I did answer that. It was false. You just didn't hear me. Uh, I'm regretting the fact that before I came out here, I was like, I'll make myself a ham sandwich, but I told you earlier I was running out of time and opted out of it. And I'm getting kind of hungry to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm going to want to come back and have something to eat. And that ham sandwich would be bomb at that point. But first world problems. Actually, I can leave my backpack. I forgot we're getting wood for Wally, not isopods and stuff yet. So, what is going on over there? What the duck? Is a heron coming or something? I think there's 4. They look like they're no, they did look like they were hesitating. Now it looks like they're just eating. I want to stop shaking the camera like a crackhead. What is really neat is some days. Oh, that is goodness. It's homie. So they were. See, it's funny how I'll say something like that. The fact that they were hanging out there, scared of something, and then homie comes by because they don't like being around the herons. That's crazy to me. Gosh, it reminds me of that day that I thought the coyote was over there chasing the ducks and the geese and the mallards, and lo and behold, I go there and that's exactly what was happening. But actually, it's not even the best right now, but it is great in that. Let me see. I think I may have to turn my brightness up. No, it's just that bright out. I apologize if it's not that clear on here, but you can, and the wind's blowing a little bit now, so it's slightly disturbed. But on days like this, you can see straight to the bottom, and there's been a few days I've seen the snapping turtle either coast by here or just hanging out here soaking up the sun. Did I post that yet? I don't think I posted it yet, but I'm in the process of putting together a montage of like just a compilation of all the random things I videoed or took pictures of, or that I saw in my live streams during the last month, and I want to start doing that proactively each month. But I was watching a muskrat eat right over there across the bank. Just silly little stuff like that. But you can actually see them swim by in the water on these days. It's awesome. And I'm glad I stopped to talk to you for a minute because I almost forgot the bucket. And if I didn't bring the bucket, I can't grab W for W. I apologize. This ride is going to be either a little bumpy, possibly a little loud, in that I'm holding the bucket in the same hand I'm holding my camera slash phone slash device because I have to hold my stick with my other hand. So I apologize if it's weird or you hear a big dong. Let's check the GoPro when we go by. The GoPro's behind me, so I don't want to talk too loud. But if you can see those holes in the mud, you can actually see some of them flying around. There's a bee here. There you go, one's landing. In fact, he just went in, yeah. I was just going to say they make hives, or I don't know if hives is the right word. Buzzed right by my ear. Sorry, I got very distracted zooming in, but you can see they're making that thing, their nest in there. I don't know if hive or whatever is the right word for these guys. And my point was I want to set my camera out here and film them. Just put my GoPro like right up next to it and film it, or put my Canon out and film it. But let's move on and get some wood. I gotta put my glasses down. Let's do that actually. I'm very self-conscious, but let's get some FaceTime. I don't wear glasses and never have, so even these are incredibly awkward and uncomfortable for me. And I hate wearing them, but like mentioned earlier in my other stream, I would have taken some damage to my face, my eyes, if I hadn't had these on a couple times. Robin. I'm on camera. What's funny is anytime I do this, exactly what happens. Homie was up ahead, and there's no use showing it now, but had I had the camera here, you probably would have seen him fly off. I guess it's not the end of the world. I just marvel at stuff like that, but something just smells dead. But now I don't smell it, so I hope that's not me. What we're going to do is go to when someone was taking their cat nap. Sharon and I went on a walk and we're talking about my wood that I put out over. I thought I saw a person. Where I was stacking my wood up. I'm gonna go gather some of that for Wally at least. I know that was some amazing looking wood. There's that smell again. I like that. I didn't see the comment. I saw there was a comment, but I will check it in a moment. Ugh. Man, this place gets green almost overnight. I'm pretty dumb because I didn't bring a tall tripod, but I can just go stack it. In fact, I'll do a different direction today. Let me see what we're talking about in here. 23 hours, so basically like a lion, right? Here's a, I don't know if this is interesting, but it's personal. I I apologize. It sounds like they're doing yard maintenance a little bit across there. If you hear like a gas, like a small cycle engine. Between my anxiety and so between my anxiety stopping me from sleeping, it also stops me from falling asleep. But then I have two back conditions, or a back and a neck condition, however you view it. And it sucks because what happens is I only get let's say 8 hours of sleep, I get about 3 or 4, because it takes me generally about 20 to 40 minutes to fall asleep. And what happens is my back seizes up, not seizes, it starts to seize up. And I, every hour or so, have to rotate from like my back to my left side. And then after about an hour after I fall asleep, maybe an hour and a half, I have to rotate to my right side. And then after that, I rotate to back to my back. I just can't sleep on my stomach. So I, generally speaking, I want to say there was some time recently where I wasn't feeling well, and I slept for 3 hours, and it was so weird that because I woke up in like a panic, because I'm just not used to doing that. It may have been 4 hours, but I don't generally sleep that well. I'm trying to think of where I should set this up. This is a 2-for-1. Let me see. Snail waiting. I'll grab him and then take this piece. Oh no, I won't. Because I'm a bonehead and left all my snail stuff in the bag that I didn't bring, because I just thought I would be gathering wood for Wally. Womp womp. see if I missed any comments. The headless Steve-O. Good, I didn't miss anything. This is going to be for Wally too, which is awesome. I hope that moss. Oops. What a world! What's going on? Back to work. Oh. Thought I saw my mom at 4, but I want to make sure because it kind of went away just. Yeah, okay, good. How is it going? I'm just gathering some wood. Let's see. Bear with me for a second. Sorry and thank you. Just want to make sure. Yeah, the bucket's at least in view. Steve-O cracks wood, and I don't care. Just look at that. I'll never be sorry. I just have a life philosophy. I always assume the best of intentions. If someone's late, if they don't show up, don't call, or if they're gone or leave, I assume life happens, kid happens, you're working, you're sleeping and forgot, or, always assume the best. I missed the comment. I may just do an outdoor day today and go inside, make myself a sandwich, and come back out and just eat. I don't. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm going to pick this up for a moment. And this is one of the things. Ouch. That was my hip popping. So this is the tree that I'm working with. Trying to get out of the, would be the direct sun. So, and if you can see this tree, let me see, right here, it is the same tree. Some of the stuff I'm starting to look more into, like what was I talking about earlier that I was researching? I don't even remember now. It's embarrassing that I was researching something, talking about how I was learning about it, and now I can't remember it. But gosh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. But my point is that that's one of the things where I say I have so many things on my list of things to do, and learning local tree IDing is one of the things that I'm doing next year. Or I'm sorry, this season. I'm debating. Yeah. I didn't say anything. They were just talking in the chat. I'm gonna go grab Wally a piece of wood from over there. Oh man. No. The blue heron just flew by again, and I keep missing it. Homie, the heron is haunting me. Gosh. So let me go grab that piece over there. So I didn't make it to the wood. I saw something in the water. I don't know what it was. I didn't see it before it swam away, but I want to show you something awesome that I did find. And now I kind of need to decide if I'm going to do something with this. When I was walking by, something was watching me over there. And I didn't see what it was. Let's see. I'll show you what I saw. I would try to ban Ninja Kitty, but every time I do, he sneaks out of it. And Ninja, I know you love this. We talked about it before, but I mean, just right off to the side. It's that sporing moss. You'll all be fine. You all have thick skin, and we're all joking around. It is funny, like in a moment of seriousness, I always struggle with that. You and I think I owe you a response to one of your comments, Ninja, but talking about how it's funny how I don't know Sharon's age, but I consider myself oldish, and I think you're older than me. And I always say, you and I talk about the fact that stuff gets lost in translation via text sometimes. Oh, what is that? Oh, where did it go? Goodness. There was a bright red, what I think was a tick. There were ants here earlier. I see a snail now. Ticks, spiders. That's crazy. All because the beavers chewed up this stump. Ugh. And I'm sure there's so much stuff going on here that I'm not even aware of. Let's go grab that wood. So what I'm going to do is that wood that you see laying down, I'm going to break it off and I'm going to lay it across the wood. In fact, yeah, I'll show you what I do to do that, because when it's rusting like that, it stays moist, which is not bad, but when I bring it in, I want it to be dry. There's less stuff I have to remove, less likely pests in there. So I'm going to do that. Yeah, let's do that. Oh, hey, Wally, I'm just grabbing some wood. Nothing to see here. How's it going? Just casually grabbing some wood. Let me see. I'm trying to... What I don't want to do is start doing that and then have me out of the out of the shot, if that makes sense. I'm going to play with this for a moment more. I apologize. I agree. He lacks discipline. So where am I going to grab that? I'm going to grab it from here that I'm looking. We'll move that out of my way. I think I should be in frame there. Oh, there's a nice piece right here. Anyway. Now I'm going to check up on comments, and I'm going to get to the good stuff of why I'm here. That green gold. Oh, man. It's funny you say that, Sharon. That bird call was neat. Oh goodness, what was I even saying? Thanks, Ninja. Goodness gracious. I'm sometimes the worst out here, and I apologize. But, oh, as Chance calls it, let's grab that green gold. Let's grab my stick. I didn't mean for that to happen, but it happened. So I'm going to go grab the bucket, because I bit off a little more than I can chew. This whole thing with it. Oh my gosh. Whoo-wee! I want to show you what I almost just grabbed. Oh man, this is wild. That is incredible. I'm not scared. I don't want to. I'm going to try and get close in a moment. I'm figuring when I do, he'll run off. For context, its abdomen is about the size of my pinky finger. I'm sorry, my pinky fingernail. Just its abdomen. And I see a spinny corny running off. I was not expecting this. See that little guy run off? This is crazy. And what's funny is, I tell you guys, before I got into isopods, man, I'm noticing his color scheme on his abdomen now. I'm sorry. But before I started getting into isopods, I've been walking out here for years and never once saw one of these. This is about the third one I've seen. This is the largest by far. But I'm just fascinated because I just never would have thought walking out 5 minutes from, not even, 2 to 3 minutes outside of my door, I'll see a spider that thing is larger than if not the size of a silver dollar, larger than a silver dollar. That is wicked. So now, that is freaking rad. And I apologize. I see that there's a couple comments, but the way my camera is set up, with the glare, I can't read any of this. So hopefully it's not saying there's like a bear coming up behind me that I should be aware of or something like that. Oh, there we go. Blink and you miss it. I'm going to kind of step out, stretch my back for a minute, and read the comments, and then I'm going to go back to grabbing this wood for anonymous people. Oh. That was that downy woodpecker. That means he's right up here somewhere. Come on. Give me another one. Where are you at? Don't make a fool out of me. There you are. Now where are you? I hear you. Where are you at? I hope you guys can hear that trill. Where are you at? That's the downy woodpecker call, by the way. I don't even know if you guys... If you can hear me, that's a downy woodpecker. I just can't see it. There it is. Where did you go? Can you see him silhouetted there against the tree? Kind of like that leaf is poking him. I know I'm shaky and it's not a great view, but that's that woodpecker that was trilling at me. You can't see, I don't believe, but he's got a red tuft on his head. That's how you know it's the male. And I'm not sure, to be honest, if females make the calls as well. Oh, my back. I'm sorry, I can't get a good view. Hope you guys enjoyed that little bit while it lasted. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Oh, just flew off again. I'm not going to chase it. I have a funny brown recluse story that I'll tell before picking up this wood and being on my way. So this was, let me see, a crow over there. Or is that a starling? I can't tell. But when I got back from my second deployment, maybe he sees my hat and thinks we're homies. Oh. that bird just flew up. Anyway, so after for context, I always say context is king. After my first deployment, I fractured my ankle, but I hid it because if they knew about it, I wouldn't have been allowed to take my second deployment. So after my second deployment, my ankle was very screwed up because it was already screwed up, and then I deployed for 9 months on it. When I got back, I had surgery, and at this point, I still had my walking cast and crutches. So I couldn't PT, so I would go to the shop very early, and one of the Marines comes in, and it's just funny. He's Corporal Ski. I don't feel good. I was like, what do you mean you don't feel good? In my mind, I'm like, this PFC's already trying to get out of PF, out of PT in the morning, being, trying to find some excuse. And he's like, I don't know what's wrong. I think I got something. I got bit by something. I was like, yeah, I know. And I'm like, well, then let me see it. He's like, well, I kind of feel weird. I'm like, what do you mean you feel weird? It's like an inch above my junk. And I'm like, I'm like, come on, dude. This whole thing is, and this is just, you can't, this is one of those moments you can't say this as a Marine. But that's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, how dumb do you think I am? I got something by my junk, and now I won't want to see it. So my whole thing is, well, then show it to me. So thinking he's going to be like, oh, you know what? Never mind, Corporal Ski. I was blah, blah, blah. So he pulls it down and just he keeps his hand above it, but right, above it is what I'm like, dude, that's a spider bite. That's a brown recluse bite. He's like, no, it's not. There's no spiders, and there wasn't a spider. I don't know what it is. I'm like, I'm not the smartest guy, and I'm a Marine, but man, I'm not telling you what to do. But if I were you and I had that bite about 3/4 of an inch above my junk, I would go to the hospital. I'd go, and long story short, he went, and it was a brown recluse bite. And had he not got it treated immediately, it would have started to do whatever that necrotic thing that it does. So he was very, 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 very lucky. And the whole time I just thought he was trying to con his way out of doing actual PT. So I thought that was kind of a funny story. Reading up on those comments. So I like to see people connecting even in my absence, or even when I'm here messing all that up. So yeah, I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna grab that bucket, bring it here, load some of this wood up, and I'm gonna be on my way for a bit. If you guys are actually bored and have time, it's only in my head because it's almost literally in this exact spot. So I had a video. No, it's not a turtle. Where I was live streaming, and at that point I saved it to my phone and it was actually, it's funny, I saved it by accident. It was one of my first live streams, and I didn't know it was an option to or not to save to my phone, and I prefer not to because I stream like this and it would take up all the memory on my phone. But in looking through my old stuff, I found a video where I was out here walking and the deer came up, and it's just funny that I posted it. Excuse me, I got the hiccups all of a sudden. But I posted it a week or two ago, and it's got like 300 hits, which I just marvel at the way YouTube works like that. But my point is, when I flip this, if you happen to go watch that video, even for a moment, to see what I'm talking about, it's right here there where a buck and a doe just walked up, were feeding, walked up closer, and then we're eventually right here, and the doe started kind of stomping at me. And I remember specifically thinking to myself at the time, I hope this deer does not attack me, because if it gets too out of hand, I'm going to have to shoot it. And I really, really don't want to do that. So I kind of took just like one step back, and she went about her business, and that was it. But I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, I don't want to end up on the news or in the hospital or some nonsense like that. But it was awesome at the same time. And it's almost, if not this exact view, that's what it's just, again, I turned around and just noticed it. That's wild. Let me go grab that bucket now. I do want to kind of do, it's one of the parts, Wally and we had a couple talks about it, but mainly on one of his live streams about, ooh, this wood's falling off, channel content, and like at what point should you split up and a bunch of locusts or grasshoppers. There's like 8 of them. But my point is, I may make a channel or do a segment or something of those little silly little stories that I have. I swear that what you're looking at is a living thing. Simon would be nerding out right now if he were here. Alrighty. I see another comment I can't yet read because of the glare, and I apologize, but I'll read it right here. And I inadvertently just rhymed. But yeah, I mean, exactly. No, I keep again. I feel like that metaphorical squirrel thing, but like you were saying, Sharon. Again, if you're really really bored, just go to my videos and type fawn, and I'll show you what happened on the way back. But I'm very aware of that. Like I grew up. I hunted a little bit growing up, but not. I wouldn't call myself a hunter, and I know what they're capable of, and like you said, whether it's fawn or territorial or mating season for the bucks, there's those different reasons, and a lot of people don't know. Deer will mess you up. Like I'm not out here trying to fight a deer, and like I say, there's no, I don't get any joy out of it. If I would have had to kill it, I wouldn't be celebrating. I'd feel really bad. But so there's a lot of the. Oh, that's just a robin. I saw a red flash. Sorry. But let me go take this bucket up. You know what? I'm just gonna. I don't even have enough room in there. I'm such a dope, so I'm gonna grab one good piece. Hopefully not get bit by that spider. And hear that cardinal. Missed it. Oh, it just flew by. See him just a little bit. I get so distracted. I don't know what kind of birds these are. Ooh. Let's focus here, Steve-O. Oh, I want to come grab that for my ecospheres. gunky green algae bloom. No one appreciates you like I do. I want to take you home with me. Take you home. Oh, that's what I wanted to do. Put this wood up and hopefully not get bit by a spider in the process. Bear with me for a moment. Please don't get bit. Please don't. That's the kingfisher. What I noticed about kingfishers is they trill generally as they take off and as they're about to land. So when I hear one, I'm waiting for it now to take off or land, but what they tend to do is pick a spot with, for example, where you can see this branch overhanging the water. They'll just hang out there and watch down in the water below for fish swimming by and snipe them. But my point is, having heard him or her trill already, I think they're just sitting there watching, and I know as soon as I go to move, they're going to go fly and trill again, and I'm going to miss it. Oh, nature. Oh my God, that's a ferret or something. Holy cow. That's not a squirrel. Where did you go? Oh my gosh. I have to see what this is. Did you guys see any of that by chance? Oh. That's a freaking ferret or a mink. A weasel? I have never seen this in Michigan all my life. Can you guys see any of that? The glare is so ridiculous. I can't see my phone screen at all. And I hope it doesn't have rabies. I hope this doesn't end bad for me. Oh man, this is awesome. He's sniffing me. At least I'm not worried about it having rabies now. That is just amazing. I don't think you guys understand how my heart is racing right now. I don't know if I should just leave him be or try to follow him. Like, where'd he go? The squirrel's running up the tree from it. Oh, wait a minute. Is that... Dude, it's attacking a squirrel. Who's gonna get that? Where did he go? I'm gonna move now. I'm all twisted up. I didn't want to move. Let me get situated. I'm sorry. I know this is awful work, but I'm trying to see. He was up there trying to either, I don't know if he chanced upon a squirrel or was hunting the squirrel. To be specific, I hope you can see that nest there. Or no, I'm sorry. Where is it? There. There was a squirrel there, and the whatever that was, what I'm assuming is a ferret or weasel, was up there. The squirrel ran up, and our friend ran down. So again, I don't know if they just chanced upon each other. So wait, actually. Where is it? Can you guys see that squirrel right there? He's the one that one chased up. Like I said, Oh, let's see, I'll center him. There's a squirrel right there in the center of the screen. So again, I don't know if it's hunting it actively or if it was just a thing. This is, again, one of those fascinating moments I never would have thought I would have encountered in nature. 10-minute walk outside my door. See, I'm not familiar enough with mustelids to know if that's a weasel, a mink, a ferret. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. This is one of those moments now where, like I kind of alluded to earlier, now that I don't know something, this is something I'm going to go and start looking at and researching. One of those times where I actually sit down and have time to focus on that. I don't right now, and I want to see. I'm going to watch that squirrel. Sorry. To see how he's going to do this. He's kind of flat on the left side of that tree. Almost to the top of the screen. So that squirrel's back in the nest area thing that it was. And no red guy that I see. I don't know if there's like stoats here. Again, there are so many mustelids that I know were at some point in Michigan, but no longer are. I know ferrets are pets here, but I've not seen a red-looking ferret like that. Which, again, I'm not positive on what the breakdowns of those guys are. I'm just so incredibly, my heart's still racing. I hope the video came out well enough. I couldn't see any of that. Again, this screen is so unseeable with the glare as I'm standing. I'm going to grab that wood and we're going to head back. I'm going to check the comments again real quick, see if I can actually read them. Yeah. I'm also surprised at how quickly it got up that tree compared to when I saw it down on the ground. Looking to see if there's any footprints that I can see, and I cannot. Yeah, well. Man, I hope you guys enjoyed that. In fact, I should probably... No, I'll just go back when I do it and watch. I was thinking maybe I should mark the time. Battery's at 40%. can't wait to go and actually start now finding out what that is. You know, maybe if I just stay here for like 2 more minutes between those big spiders and seeing some kind of mustelid, maybe if I just stay here for like 2 more minutes before I take off with some of this stuff. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it, both of you. Man, I can't. And those are those moments where I tell you guys, it's why I started this channel. I just specifically when I before all of the isopods and bioactives and my fat tail, I would see something like that. What is that? Oh, it's a turkey vulture flying up. I actually pay attention to the shadows flying overhead and then saw them up there. But yeah, I just saw stuff like that. It's fascinating to me. I still owe you the story of that deer, as a matter of the fawn that I got to catch you tell on the way back, because there's a spot, and I always try to tell it at that spot. It's because it's very fitting. In fact, let's start kind of doing that. So which of these would, you know what? I was going to say which one of these would make a great gift. But let's just do them both. Take those both. I saw a comment and we'll be on our way. Well, thank you, my mom. I appreciate that. Like I say, I know, Ninja, I think you've heard this story, so I apologize. I don't think any of you other gals have heard it, but kingfishers. So I'm 41 years old. I'm going to be 42 this year, and I bought, as I mentioned, I'm getting into all this nature, and I want to, just my autism, I want to classify things, and that book made it easy for me. But I actually got it for my daughters. But it's like Michigan, Birds of Michigan for kids. And you know, I'm looking through there, and I finally come up, and I'm like, a kingfisher? I'm like, there's no kingfishers in Michigan. I've lived here 40 years. I've been up and down the UP, east and west. I've hunted. I've been out in the wilderness. And I come out the next day and I see a kingfisher out here. And it's just, I say, those kind of moments with the deer, the beavers. I didn't know beavers were native to Michigan. I've seen deer, but not, I think, like I mentioned, I've been closer to deer in my walks out here than I have hunting. So the coyotes chasing the geese across there that I caught on film, but so many things like that I miss. And that's like, I kind of alluded to that a few times during this stream. It's like, if I'm filming what you see now, we're missing over what's over there. And if we're looking at what's over there, we're missing what's over there. And there's always something I feel like I'm missing out here, which is why I'm always so eager. I say I want to get trail cams. I want to do all that, because I can't believe I just saw that mink or weasel, whatever it was. Man, and I say, if I hadn't had this going, I would have had no way to share that with anybody. That is just, I love it. Let's grab our wood and go home. And now I'm going to be looking for, I don't know, I mean, I know because I've watched mainly like mongooses and other like larger mustelids, but I like the way, I don't know how well, again, I couldn't see my actual screen. American mink, okay, awesome. The way they bounce, they move. And so now, what's funny is, I talk a lot about the human mind and all that, and how amazing it is in simple ways, because I'm not that stunning, but just little things like, so for example, deer, when I'm looking for deer, now that I'm looking for the woodpeckers, now that I'm going to be looking for minks, what I'm saying is I look for different things out here. Like I mentioned, the shadows, I'll see when I know where the sun is, I'll see a shadow come over and look in the direction, because I know that it's going that way based on the way the shadow is. Bird calls, all of this, it's just, I don't know. Getting to know all this is just Amazing. Gonna go down that rabbit hole when we get home. Gonna grab this wood. A woodpecker trilling at me. Man, life is wild. So many birds, I feel like they sound like they're laughing at me. But anyway, part of what I was getting at is now, as I start to and another example of what I'm getting at is, I'll show behind me, the creek, when it's nice and still, the way I look for example, turtles, muskrats, and things swimming is just simply looking for the disturbance of the surface of the water. And what I'm getting at is, when the more I'm out here, and this is where I say I'm fascinated by the human mind and psyche, what becomes initially something conscious, like, oh, I now realize those deer are that brown color, but a specific brown color, so my eyes look for that when I'm out. Similar to the red flashes of feathers for woodpeckers and things like that. I like how the brain works like that, and then eventually, like I mentioned, it's subconsciously seeing all of those things that you didn't see before you consciously became aware of them. And sometimes seeing a lot of those things is just being conscious and aware of them, that they exist in that capacity, however your brain recognizes it. And like I say, then being able to start to filter out other things that you see and filter in and focus on the things that you want. You know, when I go out here, I say a lot, whether I'm coming out here to look at wood, I wear different clothing if I'm coming out here to actively, for example, I don't like to say stalk as in I'm hunting, but try to get out here and catch a deer on film where I know I have to be quieter and less visible. All of that comes into play out here. But again, it's something that it's so trivial and doesn't really matter at all. But I say it's fascinating to me. I'm going to put this down for a moment, organize my bucket, my busket. I see a comment and I apologize. I will catch it. Well, I can't promise if I get hit by a comet or something. Marine hit by comet. Oh, this is going to be tricky. I'm going to have to figure that out because that's a little top heavy. The things we do for love. You're a good thinker, Steve-O. Very next sentence. Excuses, excuses. I don't know about you sometimes, Ninja. Man, how am I going to navigate this? I really don't want to... Well... Try this. I kind of apologize. I'm going to put my walking stick on the head. I'm sorry, my camera on the head of the walking stick because I need to carry this bucket. So I apologize if it's loud, or I'm going to try to keep it as visually consistent as I can, but this thing is a lot more than I intended. Gosh, a freaking American mink. That is just fantastic. And I'm going to be honest, if I heard me telling me that I saw an American mink out here, I'd probably tell me I was full of it. what's interesting is, and I think someone was saying it, mustelids in general are just incredible, voracious, very aggressive, intelligent predators, very opportunistic and cunning, and it's almost gotta take a break. Oh, and freaking homie again. See if you can see him through the trees. What I was getting at is here, a toadstool. I don't want to say it scares me, but for example, talking about squirrels, I know in fact, you guys were talking about it. I would assume they predate on squirrels, but also like that woodpecker nest. I know they tend to eat eggs and stuff like that, and young. So again, that's just something that I need to be mindful of. I'm gonna shut up. I hope you can hear this toad. You must have a good view of me because it's shutting up. So I'm going to be on my way. Everywhere I'm looking now, all I want to do is see that mink. All right, let's load this bad boy up again. I'm going to check comments. We'll be on our way. Now would be a good time to tell me how great and amazing I am, if that's what's on your mind. Freaking American mink. Unbelievable, dude. That is awesome. Yeah, don't stop the stream. How will I do this? Oh no. What will I do? I guess I could just strong arm it. Not like that. Oh, this is heavy. Whew. Things we do for love. Oh, that is good enough. That is a bucket of wood. Well, ladies and gent, it's almost that time. I wish. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment. So generally speaking, off to, as you see, the left is my apartment complex where I live, and off to the right is a condo complex, which are like connected homes, so to speak. So going on about 2 hours, about 30% foam. So yeah, we got a little bit of time to hang out and chat while I shake whatever's in my boot out. So let's say about 5 more minutes. I'll hang out 5, maybe 10. Part ways for a bit. And I may actually try to do another stream today. I don't know. I have no desire to stay inside today. Absolutely none. I may regret that at the end of the day when I'm beat up and have no energy, my back and my legs are sore, but by golly, that is my intention. uh, let's try this again. There we go. One of the biggest bummers about, I mean, it's not that bad, but like I'm socially isolated, so I don't have like friends or family, and and in fact it speaks to why I enjoy this so much. Like, um, outside of if I didn't have live stream and YouTube, what I just witnessed with you, I would not be able to share with anyone. Like, I can't call a coworker or any of my relatives, or like show that to them. It's just like, who cares? Which is a bummer. Like I say, that's what's very nice about this. I get to actually share this. The poo poo head. Like, I can, I swear, I wish. How? Ooh, wait, I want to. That is nice. Let me back up a little. Why do you suck, phone? I really like that. Okay, you started the poo poo head stuff. I'm always watching. Always watching. Always watching. I think that the label of paranoid is often ascribed by those who just don't see the same patterns that others do. Freaking American mink. That is just phenomenal, dude. Right outside my back door. I don't know why I don't understand. Well, not everybody has this, I guess. That's part of my secondary or tertiary objectives in all of this, the networking in the hobby and live streaming and Facebook groups and Discord servers, is hopefully one day I can find a friend or something. Like I say, it's very funny because again, I try to think about how things appear towards to others when I say them. So coming up to someone like, "Hey, we just met. You want to go for a walk into the middle of the forest with me?" is kind of shady looking, or shady sounding, so I get it. But it's just like I say, I've been here for 2 years. I don't know, maybe three now. And granted, COVID happened, but even now, COVID's gone. But and I'm still go. It's one of those things. I'm going to be out here, aside from when I have my kiddos, by myself. I'm just, whether it's someone out collecting isopods with me or filming, because I'm not. I like learning how to film and all that. I don't know. Someone, I don't know. I just, everything is better when you have someone to enjoy it with. And more so in that, like, I do want to do videos about social isolation and how they affect you long term. Because one of the things I'm noticing is I don't commit things to memory anymore because, if something as trivial as someone asks, like, Steve, why don't you watch movies anymore? How come you don't watch any new shows? And I tell them it's because, generally speaking, if right now I went in and watched the most thought provoking show that I was like, oh, it's just so riveting for whatever reason, I have nobody to like talk to about it, no one to share it with. So that's essentially the last time I interact with it. And so I don't retain things anymore. Whereas, normal people, they talk about things with coworkers, neighbors, social circles, religious groups, all the different affiliated groups, sports groups, whatever. And that's kind of the way people retain memory. Not having that, I realized how important like social feedback is for memory retention. And it's even affected the way I, again, being socially isolated for going on like 6 years now, 7 years. How old? So she's going on 8 or 9 years. But my point is, I hope this makes sense. I think I actually told you about this, Ninja, but where like playing a video game, I classify things as my own, in my own way, like the purpose or the thing that they do, whereas normal people know the character's name and things like that. And I noticed this when I started playing a video game with my daughter, and we were trying to talk about the game, and she's talking about character names and these different names for things in the game. But because when I hear the game, I don't care about any of that. All I care about is what the guy has to do. And to be honest, I'm never going to say the person's name again. I don't retain it. There's no reason for me to know that person's name in the video game because, again, when they say it, I don't retain it. I'm not going to reference it outside of the game to a living person. So all I care about is the fact that that's the guy with the fire sword as opposed to the chick with the ice bow, because that's the way I break the game down in terms of function. And outside of the function of the game, if I'm not sharing that with anybody, I have no reason to start thinking about the game in any other way. It's fascinating to me how that works. And the bad thing is the way, again, with my autism and my desire to classify things, organize things, break things up into groups and see differences, it makes it easier for that. I hyper focus. You Got a Friend in Me was that. I know that's that. Oh, look at that, actually. Where did you go? Squirrel over there. I don't know why I'm zoomed in. I always say, it's like nature's painting a moving picture for me. And again, I always say I'm not going to not say something, but I don't mean it can be interpreted the wrong way. I'm sorry you have to deal with that, but I always say good for you for dealing with it. And it's not that it's a bad thing being autistic, especially now that so much more awareness is around it. Like I say, I'm 40, in my 40s, and just starting to be aware of it and navigate it. Again, and I hope you don't take offense to this, but I don't know if you're aware of this, but the Marine Corps in America has a trope, a stereotype of sorts, about the fact that most Marines are basically autistic brutes who the only reason they fit into the Marine Corps is because the autism basically allows them to find that groove, so to speak. And then what's very funny, I think, is, you know, in hindsight now, I just laugh at the fact that, how some stereotypes play themselves out, because when I look back, the rigid structure of the Marine Corps and that lifestyle and my autism worked very well. But then it also made it very difficult for me because, again, something I appreciate in life is consistency, and a person being consistent, logically consistent. So in the Marine Corps, there's this mentality of like, we've been doing it this way for X, or it's been this for X, and that's how we do it. And my whole mentality is, yeah, but that's wrong. Because you say here to be honorable, but then you're saying here, is something dishonorable. That doesn't make sense to me. And saying that just because we've been hypocrites for X amount of time, that's not an excuse for me. So I would get in a lot of trouble when I would either innocently question things or openly. Like I say, I'm very confrontational in that regard. More so, I say, about something I care about, and I cared about being a Marine. So having someone who's supposed to be my superior going around being a hypocrite in a negative way affected my impression of the Marine Corps, what other people think of the Marine Corps. And so I was very adamant about that. One funny story is, I'm going to kind of wrap up after this. I think I'm going to be out for another stream later. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a sunset. But I have a philosophy of kill them with kindness. Let me make sure I don't want the battery to go out right in the middle of this. 20%. So I got to get through this and then go. But I had a philosophy of kill them with kindness. And specifically in the Marine Corps, they harp a lot about customs and courtesies as part of the lifestyle. So much so, if you're in the Marines and you walk by someone, even if they're a sergeant major and you're a PFC, or if they're a colonel or a general, and you say good morning to them and you render them a salute or the courtesy, they're obligated to return that. Either return the salute, say good morning, Marine, how are you doing, or something. So if I walk by a Marine and greet them and they don't do that, I'm the kind of Marine who, if they're doing it because they didn't hear me or they're busy, that's fine. But I know sometimes a Marine would just not want to acknowledge me, and I'm not going to allow that because I would get in trouble for doing that. So I'm not going to allow you to do that. So basically you would see sometimes, and it happens in the Marines a lot, someone just walking behind someone who's kind of trying to walk away, but they're like, good morning, Sergeant, because the sergeant doesn't want to answer. And there's just to the point where the person will say, oh my God, good morning, Corporal, go away. But my point is, I say kill him with kindness. I had a gunnery sergeant Sanders, and I loathed her because she was a what we call a stateside Marine. She never deployed, but more importantly, if deployment came up, she would find a way to get out of it. So she was very disrespectful to me because I had been out in the Marine Corps and deployed. So my view of the Marine Corps was different than an office Marine who'd been in for 16 years but never been out of the country, never deployed. So she was rude to me, but I was not in a position where I could be rude or talk back to her. So one of the things I did, and this is, again, very nuanced, and this is what I like, again, mentioning the way when you greet someone, you greet them by their rank. And she was a gunnery sergeant, and one of the ways to greet a gunnery sergeant is call them Gunny. So instead of saying good morning, Gunnery Sergeant Orzakowski, it'd be good morning, Gunny Orzakowski, good morning, Gunny Ski, whatever. So I always interpreted calling a Gunny or a first sergeant or master sergeant top, that's a sign of respect. So I don't consider it something you just go up to a Gunny and say, good morning, Gunny. It's more of something when you develop a rapport with that gunnery sergeant and have a respect for them. You'd go up to them, oh, good morning, Gunny, what's going on? As opposed to, hoorah, gunnery sergeant, good morning. So what I would do to her is I would have a gunnery sergeant come in from downstairs who I enjoyed being around, and I'd be like, oh, what's going on, Gunny Moore? You catch the game yesterday? Oh yeah, PT, blah blah blah. And then she, Corporal Ski, and then immediately I'd be like, oh, hold on 1 second, Gunny. So I'd refer to that Gunny as Gunny, and then when referring to her, I'd be like, oh, 1 second, Gunny, I gotta answer her. Yes, Gunnery Sergeant Sanders. And again, I'd go from this jovial tone, being pleasant with this gunnery sergeant, to go to her where I'm not treating her with that respect. It's, yes, gunnery sergeant. Aye, aye, gunnery sergeant. Roger that, gunnery sergeant. I'll have that for you in a moment, gunnery sergeant. Roger that, gunnery sergeant. And then I'd turn to the gunny. Oh yeah, sorry about that, gunny. Let's get back to this. So, yeah, how was that deployment? Corporalski! Yes, gunnery sergeant. Can you come here? Aye, aye, gunnery sergeant. I'll be there. Roger that, gunnery sergeant. Hey, Gunny, let me go see what she wants. I'll be right back. And she'd hear that, and she'd ask me sometimes. And she regretted it the one time. She's like, Corporalski, how come you called him Gunny? I told her, I was like, I don't respect you. When you earn my respect, I'll call you Gunny. And to that day, she just had it out for me. But again, I didn't particularly care. I'd rather have her know that. I can still hear her again. It's very rare, but that I don't dislike people for who they are. I don't dislike people for them being different from me. I dislike her because, again, she just would use anything she could as a way to try to weaponize it. Whether it was me being married, me being deployed, my injuries, like I mentioned when I had my ankle surgery. It's not that even she's a mean person. It's like, because, people could say I'm mean. That's all arbitrary. But when I know you take something as an opportunity to use it to beat someone, weaponize them, or punish them, just because you have the, I can't even say the power to, because again, what they were doing was wrong. But again, I had no respect for her, and I was happy when she asked me that, and I was able to tell that to her face. And again, I never was rude to her. I would always respond promptly with what the Marine Corps says. Yes, gunnery sergeant. Aye, aye, gunnery sergeant. Roger that, gunnery sergeant. On my way, gunnery sergeant. I'll get it done, gunnery sergeant. Roger that, gunnery sergeant. Like a broken record. But again, sit me down with someone I care about. Oh, what's going on, Corporal? How's it been? What's going on at the MEU? How was last deployment? Oh, what's Gunny Moore up to? Oh, that bonehead did this and that. Oh yeah, I heard he got married. Oh yeah, just carrying on. Man, I miss those days. The Marine Corps was the best time of my life. But that's that story. It's coming on to about, what, an hour 20, so we're going to wrap up here in a moment. So if you guys have anything else to say, speak now or forever hold your peace. I'm going to read. I saw you had some comments, Ninja, and I did not see them. I apologize. I don't, yeah, in terms of, real quick, the autism thing, I don't think autism is new. I just think we're finally to the point where we can be aware of it. I don't, I just, when I don't know, I'm not going to get into it. I don't see it as some new phenomenon. I see certain things in our environment allowing it to maybe be more pronounced and more visible, or more stands out more, in that in the past, again, we as humans tend to forget, like, this moment in the way things are is like 1% or less of human history. And before, if I was autistic, to be honest, it sounds cruel, you would get beat back in line or held into society, or ostracized by society, or demonized by society, classified as this or that, if you didn't have the ability to minimalize your autism in the way that it affected people and the people around you. Whereas today, if you look at it, even with physical ailments, In the past, if you had a son born with one leg, to be honest, it sounds mean, but they may get rid of that kid because he's a burden on the village, can't even produce for himself, and they didn't have the means and resources to do that. Where today we have such an abundance of resources, we can overlook all these flaws, conditions, illnesses, whatever terms you want to use for the myriad of things that we have to deal with. But before, we couldn't deal with that. If this guy was crazy, I'm not rolling the dice on him doing something crazy and killing my family. And again, getting, wasting the money, letting the cows out, who knows? But that was more of a life and death thing today, whereas today it's not. We have that luxury of being able to, as mean as this may sound, suffer living with people like me. Whereas before, it wasn't always an option, and it's only steadily getting to the point where logistically we can tolerate that kind of stuff. I don't even mean the mental aspect of it. Yep. It's, you see, I talk a lot about predatory birds do it. But cats do it. Lots of animals in the wild do it. Where they, sounds mean, but they'll kill if food is scarce and they have several, whether it's birds or offspring. They'll kill it outright. Sometimes they'll kill it later. Some of them I hear, again, I don't know this because I'm not one, but if they detect a birth defect, they'll either outright neglect it or again kill it, throw it out of the nest, whatever. Nature is harsh like that. Again, I think that's the big, we as humans forget that people ask like what's the meaning of life, and I'm not the smartest guy, but I think I have the meaning of life figured out, and at the simplest basis point, it's to be able to survive. And everything, if the past and the future is based around that. Everything I'm doing now is based on either someone's forethought to allow me to do this or my willingness to do it. I don't know. It's fascinating, but technology is born of, generally speaking, better shelters, better food. Well, what is better food? Is it taste? Is it better shelters in a bigger house? What is better and bigger? No, it's that allows us to live better, live longer, live healthier. Again, I think we're always chasing that. Why do we want to learn things? In essence, I think we want to learn things to be able to live longer. Use that thing where I may not be able to learn how to build a house, but I may instill in my daughters the importance of being able to build a house so they can continue that. I may not be the most financially mindful person, but I can teach my daughters my mistakes and teach them the importance of being more financially mindful. But what does that all come down to? Why do I want them to be healthy? Why do I want them to be financially responsible? So they don't die. Like, that's it. So they have a house and don't die. They have food and don't die. So they're mindful of the world around them and don't get followed into a alley and get killed because they're not mindful. All of that is essentially the same thing. We want, and we all hypothetically should want the next generation to be better off, live longer, healthier, smarter than we are, and pass off all the mistakes we made, the knowledge we learned in those mistakes, and pass, off onto our, again, what is society? Society is just a tool for us to try not to die, to understand each other, and navigate our differences, and put again, keep nature at bay. Live close enough to help each other, but not live close enough to where we're a detriment. I think everything in the basest sense is driven by our desire not to live and to promote the next life. And I don't think a lot of people realize that until it's whether they have kids, they get old, or sadly, they may come to the point where their life, they realize that it's lacking, that's what it is all about. Whether it's the people around you, kids, your family, nephews. I always say it's not always sons and daughters. We overlook families and grandparents and all that. Again, everything is born of that, I believe. And I could be wrong in that, but it's the base. It's, again, I think where all of our desires subconsciously are born of. And it's not a fear. I think that's where I think a lot of, it's not like a fear of death. It's just life is awesome. And once you realize that and get to a point, again, I talk about the struggles of people before us. You know, lots of people before us never had so many of these choices. To sit outside, think about it. I'm sitting outside looking at something, talking to people. 50 years ago, today in other parts of the world, there's people who are 12 years old working on a farm. You know what I'm saying? And when they're done with that, they're going to go in. I think my phone's going to die. But they'll start preparing for dinner. They'll start doing all that. Again, this is a complete luxury. And the last thing I want to say about that is where I think we fail today is we want to hide that ugly struggle we got to be here. We want to hide how the alcoholism, the wars, the racism. I want my daughters to see that because I want them to avoid it, and I want them to know what things will be when we start to regress as a society. As a loner and an isolationist, I don't want society. I hate it to a degree, but I love it because it allows me to live this lifestyle outside of that society. I don't want to tear down the society because, again, then I know the lifestyle I would live, the lifestyle my daughters would live. I don't want that. I want them to have all these luxuries, and I don't want to ruin it and tear it down for you or anybody else. And I want to make it better. I want them to, eventually get to the point where they're trying to make it better for whoever else they love and care about. And my phone is at 12%, so I'm going to say another moment here. Yeah, if I die, I want that to be the one motto I'm remembered by. Freedom first, safety second. Yeah, give me the freedom to choose what's safe for me. I feel like I talked entirely too much this last 10 minutes. Like I'm ruining this serenity. We're at what? Hour 28, right? No, 2:28. Wow, okay, goodness gracious. I couldn't see the thing. I thought it was an hour. So yeah, it's been a while. And that mallard is still just sitting in the sun, loving life, man. Let's see this. We'll go out on this. I am very surprised and happy with the way this worked out. I'm trying to be more mindful of battery life and things like that so I can at least kind of plan if I can, have one phone battery and one GoPro battery to stream from, I can plan accordingly. I saw a mink. That is crazy. I'm still absolutely floored by that. And he didn't seem to even care that I was there. If anything, he was probably annoyed because he had to go around me. That is awesome. What is what right where? I don't see anything. If you're talking about, let me see, I apologize. Where is it? This right here is a rock that has a bunch of moss and algae and plants stuck to it. I assume that's what you're talking about. Oh, this whole thing in general? I'm sorry. So I apologize. It's so, as I think I mentioned to you a few times, the other side used to be a golf course, and this used to be, the phone's resting on one, and you see that other concrete stanchion across the way. This used to be, I'm assuming, a bridge connect. So I apologize for not understanding that. Yeah, we just call it, again, me and the kiddos call it the bridge. Let's go hang out at the bridge. Alrighty. My phone's buzzing at me, so we're gonna wrap this up. What do you think? Should we do a sunset, or should I take some time off? You know what? I'll take tomorrow off, because tomorrow I'm taking my car in to the shop, which sucks. I got to remember and try and think if I'm going to need anything, because I'm going to be without my vehicle for the next few days. So I want to try and proactively think if I need anything or need to run any errands that I'm going to need to run, but I think I'm good. But yeah, what do you think? Should we do a sunset, or should we take some time apart, Ninja? It's not you, it's me. But I do want to actually come out here and freaking look for that mink again, man. Yeah. I try to put out my link at least an hour before. I try to. So maybe I'll catch you. Part of me is just hoping my phone dies, because it makes it easier, because then I don't have a choice. I did want to say the last thing, in fact, before we go. I don't know if you noticed, and I meant to say earlier. It looks like, I don't know if something was building a nest there, or if that's just the way the thing ran, from the overflow, it ran off. But I want to say it can't be like that, and I don't remember it being there before. But I'm curious if that's like a nest. I've seen some ducks and geese make some very lazy nests. And I'm kind of curious. You know what? And if I come back out, I'm going to bring I'll bring my waders out, and we'll go out. Maybe not. We'll see. I'm very hesitant to bring my phone in the water, because eventually I'm going to drop it in there. So I'd rather, in fact, maybe I'll do that with my GoPro. Yeah. I'll figure that out. But yeah, I'll catch you guys when I catch you, and I'll decide that in a little bit. So thanks for hanging out. Again, you guys could be anywhere in the world, but for some reason you guys chose to be here with me. So thank you for that. Take care of yourselves. Take care of the ones you love. And until the next time, go easy. All right, I think it's done. Gosh, I can't stand that ninja. I'm telling you, if I ever see him. Yeah, I know, Blue Jays. I don't like them either. Blue Jays. I'm a ninja. I live in California. Not tough. Totally glad I just clicked that off, though. What does this mean? Are you done streaming? Uh-oh. No, just kidding. Take care, guys.